The following may contain language that is not appropriate for all audiences. Small children, people that are easily offended, whatnot. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us here once again on the Low Fact Podcast. Dave and Matt.
What's up?
Coming at you, because, it's just the two of us.
Just the two of us.
Anyway, I guess the intro topic for today, because I guess we can't really say that we always just kind of talk about.
Are we going to talk about the coronavirus? No, I'm just kidding.
No, actually, we're not.
All right.
I was going to talk about how if you've listened to our podcast and you might get the idea that we over here at the Low Fact Podcast think that people are just kind of crappy.
Well, our titles would suggest that.
But that was one of the interesting contradictions in life, because while in general people seem really crappy, there are more than a handful of situations where people kind of surprise.
When they don't do something crappy.
Right. They do something super nice. They do something super selfless. It's not like one or two things. And I don't think that it's a matter of, how a person was raised or whatever, but I'm sure that kind of goes into it. But there are people that, there are times when people do things that are just kind of blow your mind. And, one example or several examples would be the stories you hear about people in battles that, jump on a hand grenade to save his other friends. I mean, that's
about as selfless as it gets.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that has conscious thought in my book, but that's, I don't want to talk about that in particular, but that's kind of the thing that I'm talking about, right? Somebody does you somebody because of somebody else, you get a super raw deal. Like I remember hearing a story when I was in college about a young man who got into who was like hit by a car by a young girl who didn't have a driver's license, didn't have insurance or whatever, and, pretty much put him in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And he didn't, and as the story goes, I never met the guy, so I'm hearing this story like second, third, maybe even 15th hand by the time it gets to me. But, as the story goes, the guy just didn't want to go after that person, blame them or whatever.
Really?
And then, that's contradicted with the story of like John Gotti, right? I mean, some guy accidentally hit John Gotti's kid while John Gotti's kid was on a motorcycle or a little dirt bike with his car, and the kid ended up dying. And because everybody knew who John Gotti was, the guy got really, the guy's friends or whatever, but somehow the guy just kind of ended up trying to get away or run away or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the thing, but the story is that guy just kind of disappeared.
Really?
Yeah.
So John Gotti was not a forgiving...
Well, we don't know. That's as far as I think I can take that story, because I don't know. I'm going off of...
And did you read about this?
I think I did. I mean, it's just some random piece of information that came up in my brain as I was talking about this. But so I don't know what we do with that.
What made you think of Selfless Acts? Was there a specific thing that you saw, or did somebody do something for you and you were like, oh my goodness?
No, it was actually a TV show about Medal of Honor recipients.
Oh.
So yes, that's why I started thinking about these selfless acts.
Well, I am always surprised by how kind people can be. People, even co-workers, right?
When it's no skin off of somebody's back, kindness, I think, is really kind of expected.
Yeah.
Not only from me but from other people. But what about when there's something that can actually have something go wrong for the person that's being kind? I mean, at that point, that's when I'm sitting there thinking, oh, I don't think people will be kind or do something selfless or be nice. And that could be an incorrect assumption on my part.
Yeah.
I freely admit that.
That's the funny thing about you, though, is like you have outwardly it seems like you have a cynical attitude about people, but I don't think you do. Really,
Well, I think it is
I
possible
don't
to
think you're
hold.
cynical. I don't think you're a cynical person, but I think you have a.
I think it is possible to hold contradictory ideas and be okay with it.
Maybe in your mind, my mind can't do that.
Well, then maybe that's what we kind of talk about for the next couple of minutes, because that seems to be an odd. That seems to make people kind of go odd. Where, like, how can you think of these two contradictory things, hold these two contradictory ideas in your head, and be like, yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't get it because.
Well, I think it depends on the contradictory ideas.
Well, this is a pretty good example. What we were just talking about. So, what was it? People are. Oh yeah, a cynical attitude about people, but not necessarily a belief that somebody is.
Out to get me?
Yeah, or that somebody. Maybe it's not a good example.
I don't know. I mean, a cynical view being not what? I mean, what do you mean by cynical view of people?
Well, your view of people is that people are always going to look after themselves, right?
I think generally they do.
And and so when things are easy, it's easy to be kind. When things maybe are not so easy, they're going to fuck you over unless you're family, and even then, even if you're family, they might fuck you over.
That's what I generally believe.
But at the same time, you're able to have a reasonable view of people.
Well, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah. So just because I think people are going to look after their own self-interest, and if something happens to where their self-interest is jeopardized, they're going to look to that before they look to anything else. At the same token, I don't think that people are out there out to get other people. Like I don't live my life sitting there thinking that everyone's out to get me and make sure that I stay down.
Right.
That would be, and that's really just for my own mental health. I mean, could you imagine what it'd be like living your life thinking that everybody's trying to keep you down?
Yes. I can as a really.
The emphaticness of your answer makes me believe that you have some firsthand knowledge about this.
I do.
That is actually a podcast topic that is coming up later this week, actually. So
okay,
we might talk about that.
Is it going to be like the next topic?
I think it will be. It will be while it's still fresh in our heads.
So it will be the latest this week then. Because we're already on episode 3 for the week.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We're a long way through.
Okay, so yeah, well, I hope our little banter was enough to kind of not distract you guys, but to help you guys spend an enjoyable few minutes doing whatever it is you were doing, and please come back and stream or download the next topic that as far as you guys are concerned, will be up right
now. Yeah. It's all going up. I'm sure all of you who are seeing our platforms know now that for now we're kind of putting stuff up on some platforms all at once, or you can go to another platform and wait, and you can figure out which one that is. All right. Thanks very much for listening to Low Fat Podcast. All right. Thanks for tuning in to Low Fat Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Low Fact. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/lowfatpodcast. If you want to chat to us, send us some comments, or have us talk about some things, just send an email to lowfatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on our Twitter and Instagram pages at lowfatpodcast. And also check out Andy's pages where he mixes our beats, Twitter and Instagram at The Fantasy Beat. And you can also find his wicked ass shit on SoundCloud at Artificial Fantasy.